Dryden Conservation Board, call the meeting to order at 7:04. We have one guest here this evening. Jody, I don't know if you want to introduce, I mean, you don't have to introduce yourself. You
don't have to do that.
Public meeting, you can sit there anonymously if you want, but.
My name is Jody Corridge. I am representing the concerned citizens of the former Bluebird Golf Course, which was subdivided some 8 years ago, actually. And there's been some development on one of the lots, and I wanted to share some observations, and I've communicated with some of you via email, and have some additional thoughts that I wanted to share. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to join you for part of your meeting tonight.
Welcome. So we'll circle back to you in a few minutes, or just carry on with the stuff we have to carry on with, I guess. Thank you, Lauren, for again doing a wonderful job on the minutes. I didn't see any errors or things that needed revising. I don't know, everyone had a chance to look at them? I know Anne asked if she could share them with the Climate Smart community as draft, and I said yes, that'd be fine. But they couldn't reshare them, but once they were approved today, then they'd be public domain. And
well, even the draft is
apparently shareable, so I could have asked, but anyway, it doesn't matter. It was only the other day, so. Anyway, does anyone have any comments, changes? Everyone okay with them?
I'll move.
I'll second. All in favor of approving the minutes as submitted?
I'll abstain, I wasn't there.
Okay. I think it's unanimous with one abstention. I guess it's not unanimous. It doesn't matter. Any additions to the minutes or to the agenda for today? Okay, so last week, Andrew emailed me with forwarded an email from Jody about some doings on one of the conservation easements on the former Bluebird Golf Course around Dryden Lake. And so excuse me. So I replied to Jody, and in my reply I copied Ray Berger and Dave Sprout. And I'll let you speak to your concerns, but I know we can circle back and I can tell everyone what date or date place.
Okay.
See.
So there has been some construction beginning on the lot next to ours. We're at 41 Lake Road. I apologize, I don't know the address number of the new lot next to us. The owners live in Virginia, and once it's complete, they intend to move on site, but they're not here during construction. We have friendly relations with them. I have their contact information, and this past Sunday, as I was taking a walk, I recognized that the builder, the contractor, has cleared a substantial number of mature trees and understory along the conservation easement, which borders Dryden Lake. And I dug out a copy of the language from when my husband and I closed on the lot. And there is language in here that talks about what you can and cannot be done in the conservation easement area. And I had understood it to mean that there was really not only to not have development, but that it was meant to stay natural. That in part what we were trying to do as a community was to recognize that Dryden Lake is a designated unique natural area, of which there are not that many in New York State, and that it has unique conservation benefits, including to birds and other wildlife. And so I was really shocked when I saw how many trees had been removed. Took some pictures, which you're welcome to look at. In email communication, and I had reached out to Drew because we're colleagues and we know each other from work. I had understood that that this was supposed to remain natural, and the language that I have in our closing document says that it is prohibited to have disturbance of the earth, shoreline modification, and mowing of natural grasses and the like. Now, in subsequent conversations via email, it seems that perhaps that does not include the removing of trees and native vegetation. I can't speak to, the language and how it was decided, whether what the intent was. Maybe some of you who served on the board at the time could elucidate that. But what I can speak to is, how important it is to preserve the natural habitat in this area and how uniquely valuable it is. I do also want to share that this was not the intent of the owners. And so I want to be very careful that I don't want to be on the record as criticizing the owners. In fact, I've had a few very nice, productive conversations with them. And their intention is to really be good stewards of the land. They have intentions to plant native trees. And so when I contacted them a few days ago, they were shocked. And part of what upsets me is that I think sometimes the contractors come in and do things with their heavy equipment very quickly before anyone even knows. And in a matter of days, they have destroyed a lot for our community. And that those are some of the things that I wanted to share.
And speed of contractors is always a problem.
Yeah.
Has anybody talked to the contractor and asked them why they did that?
The owners I contacted them on Monday morning at 9 o'clock. They texted me to let me know that they had spoken to the contractor and told them, do not cut anything else down. I did not go to their contractor directly. One of my other neighbors had had a prior conversation with the contractor the week or two before that did not go very well. So there have been, already like a sense of tension in our little community. And so I did not feel comfortable talking to the contractor directly.
I mean, that's sad. How come it looks like he's trying to get something down to the lake?
Yeah, it does. That's what I was thinking.
What's the story? Was the house supposed to be put up here?
The house is up on the hill not in the conservation easement.
But up above the conservation.
And below the conservation easement on the lake side in just a matter of, I don't know, it happened sometime during the week. Because I walked it on Sunday and they had cleared a lot.
So,
down
but
the
what
lake.
is it they were trying to have the contractor do to their house?
They told me that on the phone, the owner told me that they had asked the contractor to clear some of the brush.
Big brush.
Some of the brush on their property, not the,
On the
on the conservation easement.
that's how I understood it. I can't speak for them.
They might have meant even on the edge, but. Yeah, wow.
And there are, I don't want to trespass, but to my eyes, it looks like they've removed almost all of the large trees. Which, you can see from that stump, were quite old and, valuable. There are red maples. It breaks my heart. I heard some of you talking about birds. I don't know if you're a bird enthusiast like I am, but we had multiple Baltimore Oriole pairs nesting in those now dead trees all summer. So it really, it's a loss of habitat. And I don't know.
That was the idea of the conservation easement, maintain habitat.
And even, you know, I'll say too, even what people call brush and understory, some of that's very, very valuable. Now, some of what was there was invasive honeysuckle. I'm all for us working to remove that, but a lot of what was removed was staghorn sumac, which is actually essential forage for birds in the late winter. So even what we sometimes think, some people think of as scrub has a lot of value for wildlife. So as you can see, I'm really invested in the stewardship of the lake. I was telling you before the meeting started that my husband and I bought 2 of the Blueboard lots 8 years ago. And we have worked really hard to restore the habitat. We have planted over 300 native trees and native shrubs. And so we feel a real sense of stewardship to take care of what our
And they left
community
this
has.
stuff on the side,
That is a giant pile of what they've cut down.
so they made brush. They made a brush pile.
I assume they're gonna
I
be
just,
chopping that or
well,
burning
maybe
it
not.
or,
Maybe
don't-
not.
well, it's right next to where their house will be, so, but I can't speak for them.
Ah. Jeepers.
So these conservation easements are ones that were made with the town,
Yes.
is that right?
Yeah.
Here's the
Is
language.
this one that we ever looked at? I don't remember
No.
this one being.
Now, these are older ones, and these were, a few years ago, there was another violation out here where somebody actually built onto one of the easements. Unwittingly or wittingly, but then I'm not sure how that was resolved.
I-
And we have the guy with the,
That was the
Bulldozer.
builder's mistake too.
isn't that in an easement
Yeah,
area?
I know the story.
The guy with the guy with the bulldozer, isn't he in an easement area?
No, he's just on town land, I
Oh,
think.
he's on town land, okay.
Is that the area? 401 Lake. Isn't that 401
It's the
E?
contractor.
401 E?
I don't know his last name. I only know his first name. But we could
Or
find
the
it out.
name of so he doesn't have the name of this company out there.
He does not.
What is the punishment for violating a conservation easement? I don't really even know.
Well, it sounds like they didn't violate the easement. So Dave's response to the email was that the easement does not include tree cutting as a prohibitive activity. So unless they've physically disturbed the ground, which they may or may not have, it doesn't sound like there's been any violation of the conservation easement.
That makes no sense.
Well, it depends on what the intent of the conservation easement is. If it's to keep an area from being developed with houses, I mean, it doesn't necessarily. There are lots of conservation easements that allow selective removal of trees or often the easements are written whereby the landowner would have to seek approval to do the removal or, get concurrence that what they're proposing to do is permissible. So,
And often that involves getting a professional forester to be involved
yeah, it depends what the intent is, but,
and what the law says.
and,
I did find it interesting, and again, I don't know what the intent was for the easement, and that's a very good point. When it talks about, no mowing of natural grasses in the lake or disturbance of the earth, and yet you can remove, 50-year-old trees, it just seems like it's not the spirit of. And so I didn't know, one of the reasons I came down tonight, recognizing that, it can't be undone and maybe it wasn't actually even a violation, but to advocate that maybe the language around the conservation easements could be clearer if we want to try to protect unique areas like this in the future.
I know a few years ago, one of the houses that's been there a while, they were mowing a strip all the way down the lake. And the planning board got on that, and they said that's a violation of the conservation easement, and that doesn't get mowed anymore, I don't think.
I mean, that's
access
what,
is permissible? Part of the reason I would assume for buying a house at the lake would be so you can access Like,
Access is permissible, but there wasn't supposed to be, like, she just read no mowing in the conservation easement, and they had mowed this big strip all the way right down. And they got hauled on
But no,
that.
you can't put in piers or docks or anything like that.
No, you can't.
No docks, decks, piers, retaining walls.
How old is this easement? Is it before the golf course, or did it happen when the golf course was sold?
When it was sold, and that was subdivided.
That wasn't that long ago, actually.
8 years ago.
All I can say from my perspective, growing up and going to college in Florida, where in the mid-70s, the typical contractor activity was to mow everything down to the sand, and they would do hundreds of acres at a time. And finally, the villages and the city said, enough of this. This is just totally destructive, and they started enacting legislation to prevent that from happening anymore. So from a biology standpoint, to me, writing a conservation easement where you're not allowed to mow or cut down natural bushes and shrubs, that it's okay to cut down grown trees, or climax forest-sized trees, that makes no biological sense to me.
Totally, I agree.
Wasn't there something about that easement that it's a DEC area or something? I thought the DEC controlled the edge of the lake.
The DEC owns the lake, so they must have. I don't know where their property line ends.
There's something about
There
a
is.
boundary around it, and
It's the high water
The high
mark,
water,
so there's
yeah.
a few feet at the perimeter of the lake
Okay.
that's DEC controlled.
because I remember that was part of the discussion of getting that easement in the first place, but
Jody's suggestion sounds really good that we need to have stronger language going forward. Does anyone here have thoughts on how we would make that actionable?
can you even do that for an easement that was already established?
No, probably not. But we're moving forward on new easements.
I think the way to do it, I mean, we need to reach out to Ray and get a copy of the current easement language and ask that we be included on future easements and the formulating of the restrictions involved with them, and I think it's doable. Now we just need to.
So that easement was between who? It's between the town and all the property owners, that all the people in the subdivision?
Yeah,
Well, it seems like it could be changed then with agreement of everyone within the subdivision. Maybe an impossible task, but I think that you could do that.
Has there been an update in the easement language since then, or is this the way all easements are currently written?
Oh, I think they're written differently for different ones. Because like for the one on Elm Hollow Road, wasn't it written in that we were, our group is supposed to monitor that easement? So that, I mean, that's one specific thing that would be different from that. We were never involved in monitoring that Dryden Lake easement. So that they can't all be exactly the same as they were then.
Yeah, I guess the question is was there a timeline and a shift, or is there a sort of easement by easement kind of special language? Which to me would be very confusing.
It might have been different with different planners also. So.
Yeah, so that's information we should get from Ray. To
Mhm.
understand that, so that maybe they have a template they work from or something that gets adjusted based on what the UNA special, what's in the UNA, that certain things need to be protected more. So let's find out. This would be a good thing to have a good benchmark for so that it's solid going forward.
And to clarify for the rest of the people who own land with an easement around that lake, because that's really important at this point. You don't know who's going to buy what from whom. And say, well, they did it. I'm just going to clear my lakefront.
It's a very good point. And that would really change the aesthetics and the habitat dramatically if everyone does the same along that side of the lake.
And actually, the control of trees is also important when it comes to view sheds. Of course, when you have any trees that grow up, then that destroys the view shed. So I don't think that our town has ever taken view sheds into they're supposed to take it into effect, but they, as they count, but they don't seem to at all. And on Long Island, it's a huge issue. View
There's
shed.
also going to be an issue with erosion from
Yeah.
this on this slope. I walked it this morning before I came down here, and we are going to have erosion into the lake because that ground is just crumbling already.
There's no understory there?
It's gone now.
So, and he's made it bare ground, and I believe legally, if you have created bare ground, you must put a cover on it. I think actually by nightfall. Straw, you're supposed to do something.
That is
Yeah,
one.
there are different things they can do, but yeah, they have to have erosion capture.
That's one aspect that there may have been a clear violation of the easement is that it does say there should not be disturbance of the earth, and they used a skid steer and they've torn it up a lot. It's that aspect I think was violated.
And it's a big enough area that actually that violates our stormwater law. Even a series, I was stunned that even a series of fence posts can violate our storm.
acre?
No,
No?
not if you're an MS4 community, which we are.
Oh.
Any disturbance needs a SWIP, which is
Another,
mostly ignored.
yeah, I was just
So I
gonna.
mean, this,
That's a
I
strong.
don't mean to sound flip, Jody, but we've been going around in circles for years, how to get the town to enforce the laws and rules that are already on the book.
Right.
And so the problem isn't that we don't have guidance or laws or rules or easements that protect these things, it's that there's nobody out there enforcing how to do that.
And part of that problem with enforcement is because there seems to be no mechanism that's effective. So, actually, your community is probably the best thing for coming up with effectiveness on something like that. Even if the community could agree that there's signs posted saying, this is conservation easement, do not disturb the soil. I guess you can't say don't take out trees, but
Looks to me like they were trying to build a path down the lake.
doesn't it look like a
It's
path?
it's not a path though, it's their
Yeah, it's
lot
lot.
from one end of their lot to the other was cleared. It
The
wasn't
whole lot?
wasn't yeah,
All the way down.
and most of the way down.
That's got to be a watershed issue.
Yeah.
Clear cuts are never good for runoff.
No.
Yeah, I'd even be curious if there's a violation against the building permit.
I think the stormwater thing, they could try to force the contractor to create a stormwater pond at the bottom. Some stormwater thing, but
Well, at least the contractor has to clear land like that. He's got to put up a erosion barrier. That's standard.
Yeah,
yeah, so
There is no erosion barrier at this point down the hill from this clearing. They do have silt fences around the building area, but that's not in the conservation.
so that then they create.
but then they go in there and do that. Yeah.
So
Do we
then
know if Ray's gonna go over and look at it or if he already has?
So Dave did go out, I'm just sending him an email asking him what the outcome was and. If there have been any violations, what the process will be, but.
Of course, personally, what I'd like to see is that it has to have the stormwater stuff put in. And the landowner does not have to pay, the contractor has to pay because he violated, he did, yeah, but that is, of course, that isn't probably what would happen. Especially if he's already an aggravated contractor.
Thank you for
You're welcome.
Hearing, tell us who that contractor was so we can avoid him.
So he was hired to build a house for these people, so and they haven't, have they broken ground on that yet? Okay, so they started building the house. He looked down and said, oh, we should take those trees so we can see the lake.
That's what it looks like.
I'm sure that's
I think
what it was.
with the owner's consent.
Understood.
Yeah, no, I'm just clarifying.
Mhm. Well, thanks for coming out, Jody, and I know you said you were interested in maybe joining us buildings.
Submitted an application.
Okay, well then. And we need someone to retire.
He looks at me.
Only because you're sitting in front of me. I'm looking at Nancy, really. No. I'm gonna step down. Make room for
Thank
Jody.
you.
Thank you,
Good
Jody.
evening.
Thank
Good
you.
luck with all that.
Look for fast growing trees.
Hey, Lanthus grows quickly.
No, jeez.
What's a lanthus?
City of Heaven.
Oh,
I only said that because
well, it's a good bee tree.
It's great for the spotted lanternfly, so let's just keep planting it.
Yeah,
Just let it go.
and my understanding is it's quite invasive.
I found one of my clothes.
You do?
Just cut it down the other day.
Atlantis or spotted lanternfly?
Hey, Lan,
Atlantis.
I never noticed it, and all of a sudden it's.
Well, I was hearing one of the news things I read. Some winery has an event where they give out all these SWAT things. Apparently now is when they're breeding.
It's probably passed.
Just
Yeah.
passed, but anyway, during breeding season, they have this events at the winery and everybody gets a glass of wine and
Swatter.
this thing to go through and smash lantern flies. And they get some sort of an extra thing for how many. There was one person who had managed to get over 1,000.
Huh? Pretty good.
Yeah. And they were doing, she says, yeah, well, she says, I really like their wine, especially this, this with wine. Let's keep those lantern flies away.
Well, I don't
I'd
know.
like to go out and get eyes on to get a better understanding of where the easement is, what the edge of how far it is up from the DEC line around the shore, just to understand the lake better and what the possibilities are when a contractor comes in and maybe goes way beyond what he's authorized.
So, and if it's the high water mark, how do you do? I mean, the high water mark after a major storm event is probably a lot higher than.
I think it's the mean high water mark. It's the average high water mark, usually, I think.
Mhm.
Is it? Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, it doesn't really matter, because it's all within the easement, it's just the down slope side of part of the easement, so that boundary might change, but the real issue here is what's going on in the conservation easement and so how do you. So that there has to be a mechanism whereby when a permit is issued, a building permit is issued, it's made clear to the landowner, who has to make it clear to the contractor that, you have a conservation easement on this property and these are the restrictions in that easement. These are the things you can and can't do in that easement, and if.
That could be handed out with the building permit.
Exactly,
That's when it should be.
It might be.
and it might be, but the question is, was that communicated to the contractor, or did the contractor just say, to hell with it, I'm gonna do it, and there's no consequence? So they did it, and there's no consequence, and since we don't know their name, we can't boycott them. If there's-
Their mechanism, I mean, I could also see that their mechanism for doing this made it a lot easier on the contractor to do the work. He comes in with a chainsaw and a skid steer. He doesn't have to have an individual with smaller trimming devices that will take longer, take more man hours. It's gonna be pretty damn fast with a skid steer. So I'm sure the contractor would be probably looking at that.
I mean, the contractor, for all I know, didn't even know there was a conservation easement, and he was told, oh, clear up some brush, and that was his interpretation of that vague directive, and so like. There's a lot of things at play here, like the property owners don't live here, they're not on site, they're, you know, what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we haven't had great luck in contracting, right? So we're talking about, well, what are they gonna do there? Who is even they? Like, I don't even know who through the town would.
Although when you get a
expect it.
permit, doesn't the contractor has to look at the permitting materials, doesn't he? Before
Don't
he starts.
contractors participate in getting those materials? I
From
thought
what?
they would
Sometimes they are.
participate.
A lot of them do, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
So we just don't know enough, I think is part of the problem. We're speculating, but you know, the contractor should know you're getting a zoning permit to do this work. It should be perfectly clear where there's easements and right of ways and all of those things should be very clear to anyone building a building. So it's stressing that this happened, and I think it'll be good to know from the good to know from Dave what he found when he went over there, because it saves them money to go in and just do this so they don't have to deal with it. And yeah, not good.
Right, and
On
it's
any level.
it's the homeowner's responsibility. It doesn't matter, you know, they're responsible for what that contractor does. So, you know, but if they haven't done anything wrong because the easement doesn't say they can't remove these big trees, then there's nothing we can do about it.
Well, there's nothing we can do about it anyway, but it does
Right.
sound like there has been a violation if the earth ground was disturbed, which is prohibited, and
Yeah.
so it does sound like there's been some violation. I just emailed Dave and asked him for an update, to maybe meet, so.
It's probably not legal, but if you're not allowed to mow, then I wouldn't think you'd be able to like mow down really large trees. But that's probably not the legal terminology.
Yeah, I really don't know. I need to see a copy of the easement. I don't know. I don't know what the intent was. And oftentimes these legal documents are, you know, very ambiguous and left open to interpretation, which is problematic. But you can't make them so restrictive that it prohibits, you know, if there was a big stand of honeysuckle and you wanted to go mow that, I don't think anyone here would disagree that or say that that was a bad thing. You know,
but it's the native grasses and honeysuckle is neither native nor a grass.
I haven't seen it, so anyway. We'll follow up, we will try to, we'll make it a point to visit this conservation easement and try to insert ourselves into future easements and to Nancy's point, maybe there's a possibility of getting the Bluebird, what's it called, Bluebird Golf Course Development Community agree to a mass change of their easements. I think it unlikely, but we can try. Okey doke, moving on. You ready?
Me? Up?
You're up.
Right, so I found out since our last meeting that our trees are gonna be delivered on November 3rd, which is Monday. So the November 1st date was not gonna work for planting, so if we can get people motivated to do the 8th. I can send something out to Cassie to have it in her little count update, and then I'll send it out to the trail folks to promote it there. I don't think we're gonna need a ton of people, so I feel like that's probably a good advertisement. The other thing I thought of when I was driving over here, we do have a list of the donors. So I'll look at what the contact info is for them, so that we could just mention it there as well. Somehow contact those people and let them know.
Yeah, they
that
might really like to help plan them.
And I looked into buying black locust for a bench. And I have that ordered, but I'm not gonna be able to have it and build it and have it ready for the planting day. So I was kind of thinking maybe we could do the planting day and then get the bench and the plaque settled. And then in the spring, maybe just kind of have like a grand opening event too, where we can just invite people and blah, blah, and walk the trails or whatever. I did reach out to Gwen, and just to start the conversation, get some input for plaque wordage. And I did get permission to mow the field from the Nature Conservancy, and I talked to Rick Young, and he sent out one of his folks, Chris Clausen, who was very nice and helpful, and they got it mowed like the same week I went out and met with him. And then I went and put stakes out where I feel like the trees should go, and they, I think, are gonna be able to come out and just do like one backhoe scoop at each stake, so that at least gets the hole started for us, so that will make planting a lot easier. And I figured out with Amanda as well about using, so I'm gonna invoice them for the trees, and then they have an account at Dryden Agway, so I can go there and get like fencing material and stuff like that. And kind of like set it aside, and then the highway guys will come and like sign off for it and get that for us.
If you need any help with any of this, I'm currently not working, so.
Oh, that's right.
So I have,
That's
I've
fun.
got all kinds of
You
time.
got time.
That's fun. Okay, all right. Well, no,
Again, he's also not getting paid, so.
Yeah. I'm independently wealthy.
works out then.
Not really. Don't put that on the record.
Strike that from the minutes.
No way, we're being recorded.
So I feel like that's my current update.
Have you looked at the 10-day forecast? What does the weather look like?
I have not, yeah.
Rain for Wednesday. Let's see, oh, today's Tuesday, no, Wednesday is sunny, Thursday, rain,
Thursday,
Not till
Friday.
next Sunday, the 8th.
Something, I don't know.
It's like a 10-day forecast. It doesn't matter. Is there a rain? I know that the 8th was our rain date. Are we gonna just go with the following Sunday, or is that getting too late?
It's starting to get a little late. I probably would prefer to just do it Sunday morning then, like if Saturday morning is bad, just push it to Sunday morning.
I'm free any day that weekend.
So the 8th or the 9th. But I've planted trees in some pretty bad weather. The trees don't mind, so,
It's probably better. It's a nice.
right?
Refresh my memory,
I
how many
planted trees and
How many
snow.
trees did you want?
There's gonna be 7 trees that we can plant. So I got some red maple, sugar maple, some serviceberry, some white oak, and Plantsman is gonna donate a linden. That's gonna be a nice variety.
So we need to bring shovels, picks.
I would say shovel. So I did text Chris this week after I put the stakes out. So we'll see when they can dig the holes, and then we can go out, take a look and see what the soil's like. I don't know what it's gonna be like there, because the time I was there with Bob, he had told me that when he was a kid, that field was just like broken down farm equipment. So it's gonna, so you don't know what you're gonna find there. I'm not sure if there's like other junk buried there, or we're gonna have decent soil or what, so, but yeah, shovels, I think if people bring shovels, that would
And
really be
pickaxes don't
helpful.
always, that does not say to have a pickaxe available.
Right.
Is there any ground in Dryden that isn't rocky and?
Here, clay.
Yes, I live on a gravel bank,
You're gonna we got gravel.
that it's really
That's-
generally pretty good. So Saturday the 8th, it's
Saturday the
25% of rain,
Oh, it's not bad.
mostly cloudy. Sunday, clouds and sunshine, 16% rain,
So
Monday. the 10th.
let's keep that. And
You want more?
No,
that's all we want.
Those are what you're interested
the
in.
8th is the tentative date, so, well, it isn't the tenth, it is. the
There's a date, that's the date.
And
So
do we have a
unless-
time?
unless Melissa shows up.
Do we have a time?
I was thinking 9, starting at 9. That
Okay.
works for folks. So if people, I'll put this like in an email that goes out, or the notice we send out, you know, like probably shovels. We'll probably need a couple wheelbarrows to move mulch. It's always good if you bring like a pocket knife, because the trees have string on them to hold the canopy up, so like always like struggling, yeah, somebody needs to cut that. Yeah, I'll make a little list and put it together. And that's the progress. So I was hoping to kind of have it all together, but it's just, I don't have the capacity. So we'll do the trees, we'll do the bench. Spring, we'll do like a little dedication event is what I'm thinking now, and then have
Sounds like a
to
plan.
visit the trees occasionally and make sure they're doing well.
Appreciate the effort you put into this. Yeah, if you need help.
Okay.
next
I'll let
2
you
weeks.
know.
let me know.
I'll let you know.
I like Ann's comment there in the chat.
Same.
It's granddaughter time. At some point, this town needs to develop teeth.
No. Mm-hmm.
Start enforcing the rules that are on the books. It seems like the last zoning rewrite meeting was focused mostly on the potential ordinance on limiting what is things called?
Data center.
Data center, thank you. Big energy hogs. You were at the meeting, Nan, were you at the meeting, Nancy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything dramatic that came out of the meeting that you care to share, or anything of interest that we haven't already discussed?
I was surprised because my remembering of this last ZAG meeting, they seemed to be saying that they were going with like the 20,000 square foot buildings, but when they went into this meeting, they said no, that what this is written up and going to the board is the 5,000 square foot building. And that's the ground level base and a height 35 feet. And some other things were discussed still about, I think it also got brought up a little bit about possibly making it cubic foot instead of prescribing a specific footprint, but no, it really, not a lot more got done with that. And then after that, they actually took up the someone's trying to come up with an additional animal control law. And they came up with the wording of this thing. Well, you're familiar with that.
We discussed this at our last meeting.
Yeah, that was,
That came up at the ZAG?
no, that came up at the planning board meeting. That's the last meeting that was done with about what ZAG had worked on. So everything ZAG has worked on up to now has gone to the planning board. So at this point, it's planning board. And when we meet on Thursday for ZAG, I expect we won't be discussing this at all, because I think it's already gone to the planning board. So we'll be discussing, I think the new thing we're going to be trying to emphasize now is housing, low-income housing. And as I remember it, but it'll, whatever shows up, it shows up.
Okay. That's next Thursday, right? November, first Thursday in November.
First Thursday is this coming Thursday, isn't it?
No.
Oh, are we still in October?
Yeah.
Halloween's Friday.
Yeah.
Be the 6th.
Oh, good, I should put a sign out by the pumpkins I have out by the road that says free. Somebody can take them. I'm here, I'm going. I have pumpkins I'm eating. I have my eating pumpkins up by the house. Down there are the pretty normal looking pumpkins, because I found the best eating pumpkins are the blue ones and the pink ones.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Can you pull up that on Zoom on that email that Naomi shared with that logo?
Oh, yeah, I sent her comments, but I didn't send
I
everything.
can share this with you
I can.
and then you can do it.
I can still. I'm not logged on.
Here, maybe.
I gotta log on to Zoom. Well, it doesn't matter. You go off and look.
I didn't look.
Everyone got the
She
email from Naomi,
replied
right?
My email here. Let me just see. if
Thanks,
she
Nancy.
responded to me.
You've all seen the logo. I don't know, if there's a rule about logos that we can use in our public, what's it called? Social media accounts. I mean, it's gonna be an official town account. I don't know if there's any kind of town review process or if we can just approve it or. But I guess
If you're gonna use the logo, I think you should talk to the town clerk's office first. Especially if you're using it on social media.
I actually sent her some suggested changes, so. I don't know what she's going to do with those, but. So I don't think we're ready to submit it just yet.
I think I got that email.
Are you looking for that email?
Yeah, I got it.
from Naomi,
Yeah,
she sent it to conservation board, so you should have gotten
I should have.
Yeah.
it on the 27th.
What changes did you suggest, Nancy?
Well, I requested that the tree trunk be narrower and fewer branches and that there be a stream and possibly something in the animal kingdom, a bird in the sky or something standing there or, you know, and an owl in the tree, you know, just, you know, I know logos are supposed to be very simple, so, but I did mention that the way she drew that tree, I mean, I took one look at it and all I could think of was a baobab from Africa. You know?
Yeah, I looked at it and thought it was a giant willow.
Wow, me too.
Oh, really? No, that didn't hit
Apparently the
me at
forester
all.
thought the same thing.
I read it as willow.
Well,
Definitely a
and
yellow.
the
Bartels?
yeah, there we go. So maybe I just am not familiar. I would expect, I'm used to more the weeping
Yeah.
willow, so, and the branches weren't. Anyway, whatever, it's, and like, I mean, what I sent was suggestions, it's not like, no, do this. You know, so, it's what she wants to do,
Well, we don't have to
Sure.
spend a lot of time on it, but if people have suggestions, certainly send them back, and I know Naomi said she'd work on another one. She did email me and say she wasn't gonna be able to be at the meeting today, she had another commitment, but. So it sounds like Nancy sent suggestions, I know others have said, you know, looks nice, and I think
Yes.
somebody said they sent a suggestion about maybe simplifying it. Not as much detail, but I don't disagree that having an animal or a bird, or I guess an animal is a bird or a bird is an animal, but. Having
a
some
creature.
creature in there wouldn't be a bad thing. Maybe a screech owl looking out of a hole. in
Yeah,
the-
and she had a lake in the background and I was suggesting stream. It took me a couple times to realize that what she had there was a lake. If it was a stream, it would be a little more obviously water. So, but yeah, hell, I'm not drawing it, so. It's not for me to. She put a lot of time into it. Even drawing all those branches.
So it sounds like Jean's gonna reach out, submit a little blurb for the newsletter, about the planting for Bob on the 8th. Anyone else have anything they'd like to include in the upcoming newsletter? Certainly doesn't need to be cleared by us, but if you have anything, feel free to submit it or send it around if you want comments.
Oh, one question I had was. If we put something in there for like the planting, I feel like we should have like if you have questions or. Whatever, contact, and like what should that be? Because I was kind of like, well, I don't know if I want like my personal email to be out there on the internet. Published somewhere, or. So I don't know, and I was like, well, I could use my city email because it's already on the internet. If anyone wants to find it or spam it, it's already there. I don't know, any thoughts?
Well, they could just send it to conservation board, no, just, we'll all
Go
get
to
it.
us.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Or they can
Okay.
just send it to Do I,
Clerk's office.
Okay,
or just deputy clerk, or just have them send it to conservation board,
Conservation board, okay.
and then we'll all get it, but
The
then.
deputy clerk will get it.
Well, don't send it to me. I'll be on
But then if you-
vacation for the next.
If you reply to any emails, it's gonna come from your personal email.
yeah, but that's okay. I mean, I think just like, when I
Right.
feel like there's just like bots that like scour the internet for email addresses and I get
If
enough
anything,
spam.
Town clerk at new tag is townofdrydenny.gov.
Okay,
And then Bambi can forward it to
whoever needs it.
whomever,
Okay,
conservation
Town
board.
of Drenny, I keep reading it,
What's that?
Town of Drenny.
Town.
Drenny.
Yes,
oh,
Drydenny.
Drenny,
Yeah.
anyway,
I didn't notice, is that what it's been saying? There's been a Y on the end or something?
it's because they
Dryden,
added
New
New
York.
York.
Oh, Ride in New York, oh.
Dryden.
change the new domain, but I just keep reading it as Denny. It's not, obviously, but anyway.
Okay, I'll do that. That's a good idea. So I'll draft that and get it out because she wants to send that out the first week in November.
Yeah, they send it out.
Okay, and today's Tuesday, so I'll do that tomorrow and send it out to her.
Thanks again.
Getting the medals along with it.
Oh, that's the only thing. How about ticks?
Yeah.
Actually, I just finished my course of doxycycline, which is why my face is very red because I didn't wear enough hat. Lyme and anaplasmosis. When I do it right.
Just do it all.
wow.
Well,
I just get the whole thing.
As well. Oh,
And then since then, I've had ticks every day. So I figured I didn't worry about it while I was already on. I figured it's circulating in the bloodstream. It's probably gonna come out. But
so because we had a visitor, I kind of skipped over the updates from boards or other entities. Steve sent a report.
Yeah.
And I think it's a topic that we might want to look into. I don't know if there's any reason that the conservation board might have a why don't you tell us all what you've sent us and then we can see.
Yeah, I mean, what I sent you was, at the EMC meeting, we discussed about biosolids, which it's something that being from Wisconsin, there's the Milwaukee wastewater treatment plant created a product called, was it Milorganite?
Milorganite.
Yeah, and they found that there was a lot of heavy metals and other contaminants in it, and farmers were spreading this, all over their fields as a, soil amendment to help with nutrients, and but it started contaminating some of their fields, and so this is something that, for New York State, it's something that they really need to address, I think, and it seems like the legislature now is starting to look into it. There's like 2 bills that have been put out there to put a moratorium on doing any kind of biosolid spreading. I think that that's great until they can figure out if they want to ban it completely or if there's some testing methods that can be done to prevent, any really bad contamination from getting spread over a farmer's field. So, anyhow, I don't know what, especially some of the egg people, what your thoughts are on it.
well, Maine, there's an organic farm in Maine that had to have all their topsoil removed. They did the biosolids spreading. They are having to, if they ever want to have any food product grown on that soil, they had to have all the topsoil removed. And they're not even sure that's gonna work. I think what needs to happen is find some other way of disposing of those biosolids, because I don't think there's any biosolids that are not concentrated toxic wastes.
Yeah.
That's
Well, and
just-
also there's some variability too in what the contamination is, and even if they do testing, let's say on a regular basis, things can slip through where you suddenly have a real contaminated
For
batch.
some of the stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
so. Yeah,
So yeah, so that was pretty much what we talked about at the EMC meeting.
Is the Ithaca City wastewater treatment plant the only treatment facility the town tied into?
I think that
Think so.
there's,
Do they do anything with their?
they were looking to
biosolids?
spread
20 hours.
biosolids from something else. I know that, one of the big dairy farms in Burdette ended up, contracting to spread biosolids, so that they've been being spread over in the Burdette area. But I don't think any of our farms have done any
Yeah, they know.
biosolids spreading.
From what I was told at the EMC meeting, all of wastewater treatment plants in Tompkins County, all landfill their biosolids right now. So,
Right, but I mean, that one in Burdette, they're importing the biosolids
right.
because they get paid, you get paid to spread them.
Sure.
So,
Cost money to landfill, so.
Yeah.
Pay a little less to have it spread somewhere. Thanks, Steve.
Sure. And I don't know if we want to make a resolution to pass on to legislature or anything like that in our support of these bills, or I mean, EMC is already providing a resolution to provide support. So
well, I'd support the EMC's resolution.
yeah.
Can I make a motion that we support the EMC's resolution?
No, because then we need the resolution to look at it, and we all need to discuss it. If maybe Steve, if you could share that resolution with us, we can draft our own and we can submit either. I mean, it makes, I think, more sense for us to submit our own resolution.
Oh, sure. I'll send it out to everybody.
So you can just send it out and we can wordsmith it and discuss it at our next meeting. I mean, the legislature's not looking at this next week, right? I mean, it's
Right. Yeah.
This is something that's probably in committee phase if it's even there. So people
Yeah.
are starting to talk about it in Albany, so. Greg, do you have anything? Yeah, did you send an email?
Yes.
I thought you did. Maybe your email ended up in my spam. Where are you? You're here.
I sent the conservation.
I know you did. I don't know. I know I saw it. I must have deleted it. Anyway. Do you have anything to report? Sorry.
Well, it was, again, they were discussing the proposed fire animal control law. The lady who is pushing it came to the meeting. And she kept talking about, well, it's all about animal welfare. Well, the town doesn't deal with them. Finally, Jason Leefer was there. He finally said, well, if it's animal welfare, there's nothing we can do about it. That's not under our purview.
Right.
You've either got to call Ag and Markets or the animal control people here locally or something like that. He said, nothing really we can do. But he did say it probably wouldn't come up any further in front of the town board, this proposed law, until after the first year. Because they have so much other stuff going on right now.
And I was thinking, actually, I called the Dispute Resolution Center to ask if they dealt with things like that, and they do. And I think if they are going to try and work on some law like this, it should be a thing that the first thing that should happen is the parties should go to the Dispute Resolution Center, because this kind of thing was really an interpersonal dispute.
Yeah.
One thing that I found.
That's good feedback. Thank you. I'm gonna share that suggestion.
I know talking with other farmers in the area that currently, if there's a, let's say, dispute on how the animals are being cared for, the agricultural stock, then the person is free to call animal control. The SPCA sends an officer out, they investigate, and they talk directly with the farmer. That's happened here on my street several times. And it's non-disclosure. We don't ever get to find out who the complainant is for various reasons. But in talking directly with animal control officers, I've seen the disputes taken care of without any additional laws or regulations. And the other farmers that I've talked to feel that even though the system's not exactly what they want, it seems to have been working for as long as they've been farmers.
Yeah, I don't know if you're aware of what's happening, but it's on Mount Pleasant, and it's this little road, Deer Haven Road. It's got about 10 houses on it, 5 on either side. I drove down it. It looked like they all hired the same lawn care place. All the lawns were mowed exactly the same. And they're all very manicured looking, except for the one property at the end where there are animals, and they have a little sign out front that says right to farm law, but they actually are on 4 acres, and they're not a true farm under Dryden's laws, because it had to be 10 acres or more to be a farm. My understanding, and this is not, it's just from things I'd heard, was that one of the issues was pigs getting out. And I'm sure the if there were pigs out, that would wreak havoc with the manicured lawns. But yeah, so I don't know what's going on with that, but this law that they wanted to come up with, we ended up, the farmers and I were laughing that we're there at the planning board meeting that they had. This law says that they can, if your animals are out, all these things can happen. And they're saying, well, if they're out, how are they going to catch them? And then I pointed out that this law says that they can come onto your farm property and take the animals from your farm. And I said, so they must be wanting to be able to show that they were out, and then wait for you to catch them, and then they'll come and they'll take them away. and it wasn't clear where they were going to take them to.
Right, yeah, where do they go? Who takes care of them while you're holding
Well,
them?
but I know people who've had stuff like that happen to them in other places, and they end up putting you close to out of business or really harassment fast, because they end up charging you for the transportation. They
Yeah.
charge you for the housing. They charge you for the feed while they are wherever they are, even if the later decision is that you did
Weren't
nothing
wrong.
wrong and your animals are fine.
So we discussed all this at our last meeting, and if it seems like the town is seriously gonna consider this, I think there's enough reason for us to interject our opinion. It sounds like the town is considering enacting some variant of this law.
This hasn't even been brought to the whole board yet. This is really
Well, it
like
sounds
in committee discussion, so.
But it sounds like what Jason relayed is that it would be brought up in January, or I guess it wouldn't
Yeah.
be brought up until at least January. Which
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean it will be brought up. But I guess the concern is that it's brought up and passed through the way it's written, and there's clearly concerns from many in the community about the way it's written, so.
Well, now another thing, because they passed it on to the planning board, and they had never made any of the
Right.
changes that the ag committee suggested. It went to the planning board in that same ridiculous way.
So Spring, we're kind of out of the loop in any of this process stuff. but I
Yeah,
guess-
so honestly, the
Fine.
first I heard about it was in this meeting last month.
Right, so
And
guess
I
my
asked
ask of
Jason
you would
about-
be that if it does come up, that you just keep us informed so that we
Oh.
can provide.
Oh, it will come up because the woman making the
Absolutely.
complaint is on the planning board.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
It is not going away.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it gets through the planning board, so
True.
anyway.
So, yeah, we can look forward to this for 2026.
Okey-doke.
But yeah, no, I will make sure you guys are in the loop on anything I know about it.
Thank you. Since you're off mute, well, you're back on mute, do you have any other town board reports?
So unless you guys want me to talk at length about line by line budget reviews, which we have spent many, many hours over the last month and a half doing, which is important work, key function. I do want to share really great news. We had a presentation about the new not-for-profit community center that is going to be going in hopefully with a soft ribbon cutting in beginning of January. So if you haven't heard,
With a what?
the
Sorry?
church right there on the corner of
It's the
Main
Presbyterian
Street
Church.
and
No,
North
Methodist
Street.
Church.
Yeah, the Presbyterian Church. So
Methodist
it has been
Church.
purchased.
No, it's,
Um,
no, the
Methodist Church.
Methodist, right, the Presbyterian is next to the Methodist, right, okay, never mind.
they raised money for it. Apparently at the last minute, someone donated $200,000. I don't know who, but somebody did. That allowed them to buy it in cash. So a lot of good work coming that way, lots of engagement from many people in the community. So that's a very exciting thing for us to see
That's
coming
great.
in very short order.
And there's lots of good fiber shops downtown too.
And there's lots of good fiber shops downtown, and people want to teach classes in there. So I think there's a lot of exciting things to come for driving with this activity.
And the Freedale Farmers Market is possibly going to have winter sessions. They're asking for permission from the Freedale Methodist Church to be able to
Great.
on Sundays inside the church.
Really?
Oh, wonderful news.
If it happens, I think it probably will, but they do have to agree to it.
Well, fingers crossed. I can't cross my fingers very well, so I don't know how that looks. That's better. Fingers crossed.
Thank you, Spring. Anything else from anyone? I'm not opposed to adjourning early.
Then I move to adjourn.
Well, I did just want to say,
Oh, you never mind.
you all get the email that Ray sends out every week, but in there they had just enough pacificatrails.org. I just put that at the bottom, just if you're interested. It seems like a pretty cool website if you're looking for a place to go walking or riding or e-biking or whatever, but. So ithicatrails.org. Don't know who runs it. So
I think someone at the county oversee that.
it's a pretty slick looking website, lots of good information. So anyway,
Yeah, they've actually had it for quite a while, I
it's
think.
been updated,
Yeah.
freshly updated. Anyway, sorry, Nancy, as you were saying?
Adjourn.
Tim, before you hop off, I second. All in favor of adjourning?
We're adjourning.
Aye.
But
Tim, what's going on